I absolutely love going down to Portland. They have so many great material down there, so many nurseries, and as well as a ton of great bonsai artists like Ryan, Michael, Andrew, Matt Reel. All of them kind of reside down there and are part of the BSOP Club. Dennis Vojtilla is also down there. He has won the Nationals multiple times for his deciduous trees. So I got a chance there to meet Dennis in Portland. He was very inviting, gave me a personal tour of some of his trees. And if you watch this video, you might pick up a couple tips that he gave me that I'm sharing with you. Enjoy. So Dennis has been doing bonsai for about 40 years. This is the front of his yard. This is where he has a lot of seedlings and things like that. Not his best stuff, but it's his front yard. Wait till we see the backyard. You're going to see some amazing deciduous trees and a couple of conifers as well. Family of deer across the street as I was driving up here.
They're so cute, but they do tend to nibble away at them.
I'm sure. Wow. Look at all that.
So this is my conifer collection here.
Right. the two big giant ones over there. Are those Rocky Mountain or?
No, Sierra juniper.
Sierra.
Although the one on the right
Look at that.
is from around Mount Shasta, so it might be a halfway cross between Rocky Mountain and Sierra.
Wow. There's some incredible deadwood on that. I have to get a closer look. Look at that. Huge. You collected these?
Probably close to 30 years.
Yeah, that is huge barberry.
Yeah, it has a beautiful textured bark to it.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, it was put in the ground when this house was built.
Mm-hmm.
The house was built 30 years ago, so it must have been 5 to 10 years at the time. So I guess it may be like 40 years old.
Yeah, that thing is monstrous. And you pulled it out last year, you said?
Yeah, just a month ago.
A month ago. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
starting to sprout out now. So
yeah, it really didn't lose a beat.
yeah, look at that. Very cool. Yeah.
Pretty much all Pinot Noir.
Do they root that easily? A little rooting hormone, do you use any at all?
Nothing. No, you don't really need rooting hormone. It would.
Interesting.
So without rooting hormone, you get 75 to 90% take.
Really?
Yeah. With rooting hormone, you might get 95%. So
Not too much difference, huh?
it's not that much difference.
Yeah. Right, right. So I take it they ground layer all the time then once they touch.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. When the sun pops
That's why I was like, the benches are clear. Did somebody come through here?
So this is pretty much where my 10 best trees were.
Oh, okay, okay.
And now they're underneath the deck over there.
We have to just imagine that they're here.
Yeah, well, you can see them over there, but
Look at this beast. I love the concrete wall as a backdrop to some of these.
it works pretty well.
Yeah, shows up well in the video.
Yeah.
Look at that. What a... This is interesting. Oh, wow. And is this a cherry of some sort?
It's a double flowering plum. Prunus bleriana.
Wow. Look at the bark. That's almost pine-ish.
Yeah, it's a grafted tree.
Yeah. Can't tell.
Yeah, it's become less obvious now because the bark is roughened up.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff, Dennis.
It's my first best deciduous.
And this one was in the National Best deciduous.
This deciduous about 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been in bonsai development for a while, right? I mean, look at the roots that are
Yeah.
kind of flattened
Well,
out like that. That takes some
I've had
time.
it for 30 years.
Yeah, okay. That makes
Or more
sense.
by now, 30, 35 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It started out as a 5-gallon nursery can.
Mm-hmm.
So those roots I've developed because
Yeah.
they wouldn't fit in a 5-gallon
No way.
nursery.
No way. Look at that. That spread is, like 20 inches
Yeah,
across.
you actually look at the back of the tree here now.
Oh, am I?
I could turn it around. And,
Oh, don't worry about it. That's okay.
and because we were having that freezing weather, I decided to kind of protect these underneath the eaves so that they wouldn't get dinged too much by
Yeah, that makes sense.
possible frost. We're not used to frost this late in the year.
They're
They're
right here.
about 80 years old or so.
This is about 80. My goodness.
Yeah.
You really can't tell from video. I gotta do that. Get down to it. Jeez. Look at this monster.
Yep.
Holy cow.
So there's a story behind that one.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
It was imported by Joe Harris, Isley Nursery,
Hmm?
a few years back. Oh, it must have been, maybe 20 years ago or so. He imported it from Korea. And I think around about 10 years ago, we had a huge freeze and snowfall where it dumped about 10 to 12 inches of snow. And we rarely get anything like that.
Oh,
And it collapsed several of his greenhouses.
really?
This tree was
Wow.
in there, and it lost this branch,
Right.
branch over here, and its head. And so he was kind of disappointed because basically there went 20 years worth of growth.
Yeah.
And so he sold it to me.
Still looks good. It's so
It's-
compact and
Well, it's compact, but it's going to be broader. I mean, it should have a crown to here. It should
Mhm.
come out kind of like this.
mm, hmm
But it just takes a while to regrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was originally trained in a very stylized way, where the branches kind of swoop down and out,
Right.
which is more like pine tree style. So I've started to get the branches to grow upwards,
Yeah.
up and out, and that'll just take it. Yeah,
How much do you think it's grown since you've gone and since '99?
not very much.
Yeah.
It had a trunk about that same size. It's just been very slow to grow for me.
Yeah.
It's had a couple of setbacks and where some of the twigs have died back, but it's getting stronger and it'll be fine. Things are just leafing out now, but it should leaf out just fine.
Yeah.
Last year was tough because of the hot weather.
Right.
I don't know.
Not good for deciduous or maples, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
That's for sure. Yeah. We had.
Did you lose any trees?
2.
2.
Yeah. And then one was, a couple of them had landed in the top. You can kind of see the evidence on this
Oh
tree
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It just got too hot. When I grow things here in pretty much full sun, which works
Right.
unless the temperature gets to be 113 2 days in a row.
Yeah. We don't like Arizona weather for our maples, that's for sure.
I've never had temperatures like that here, nor do I want to experience them again here.
No, I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, I had to buy a couple of pop-up gazebos for my trees. After that, I was just like,
Yeah,
might as well stay ahead of it.
yeah. And it's a root cutting.
Oh, interesting.
So,
They usually take a while to get to this
so
size.
the root started here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I transplanted it, I saw this big thing underneath and decided to cut it off and planted it. And what I did was I wrapped this root trunk in a plastic bag with sphagnum moss, long fiber sphagnum moss stuffed in there. And it kept the trunk moist until it sprouted, and after that it sustained itself.
Nice.
Otherwise, it would, if you just let it open to the air, chances are pretty good it would die back before it got enough roots to support it.
Oh yeah. So this is all your work.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just a stump.
Yeah.
For the,
Beautiful.
okay.
No, I love it.
I have lots of everything.
You do.
Oh yeah, here's another one that got green.
What a dream. Look at this. This is one huge hornbeam.
Yeah.
The taper on it is unreal.
Yeah, I got that from at the first national exhibition. It was growing in a very small pot.
Yeah?
I mean, the pot probably wasn't much bigger than the base of the tree.
Yeah.
So it's gone into several larger pots to give it more strength.
Good.
I wasn't happy with the top of the tree, so you can see I sort of hacked it back and,
Right.
and we'll probably regrow this as a new top.
The new
and
tape.
It'll
Yeah.
end up being taller. So
Yeah, and that taper is ridiculous.
it is I bought it for the trunk.
Yeah.
Figure out that.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's an awesome trunk. It's not easy to find.
They're not. No, I have the hardest time with Korean hornbeams. When they're young and growing from seeds, really low germination rate. This is beautiful,
I have never
too.
tried them from seed. So these are two other Korean hornbeams. You
Yeah.
can see that for me they have a tendency to die back on the top.
Hmm.
I don't know why exactly, but they don't do as well for me as I would expect them to.
Huh.
This one's coming along now.
Yeah, that's
But it
really leafing out.
Also had some die back a couple of years ago.
This maple. Kotohime?
No, that's my own.
Your own.
I found it in a field of, not a field, a nursery with about 500 Japanese maples in
Yeah.
5-gallon cans.
This is...
So it was being sold as a regular green Japanese maple.
What? And it was a seedling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see a graft union on there.
No, it's not grafted.
And these leaves are unusual.
Yeah.
They clump like a koto.
Yeah, but they have, well, this is Kotohime here.
Mm-hmm.
Also hit by the heat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, so that doesn't have this smallness of Kotohime, or the really, really small nodes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a hybrid between a regular green Japanese maple and something like Kotohime.
Yeah.
But it has nice sized nodes, and the leaves don't get much bigger than 1 inch,
Right.
3/4 of an inch to an inch.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing on it.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the way that one's.
Really
Yeah.
nice. Really
It has
nice.
a much more natural appearance
Yeah.
than a lot of Japanese maples do. So I liked it with kind of multiple trunk style and multiple heavy branch style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This one's a special variety of birch. It's a cut leaf weeping birch.
Yeah.
The
I don't
variety's
think I've
called
ever seen anything like that.
Dolicarlica. I think it's more common in Scandinavia, but it's a 5-gallon nursery can originally. And I just
Did you do this? Did you clump it?
no, it came that way
Came this way.
naturally. Yeah, it struggled somewhat. I think it tends to get some kind of fungus,
Mm-hmm.
but it is growing back strong. And then I transplanted this year and turned front to back. And so this top, which was used to be here, brought forward, as you
Yeah.
can tell, with
Yeah.
a bunch of wire.
Sometimes you need it.
Well, the front was better because of the spread of these trunks here. from this side
Yeah.
as opposed to where it had been. So the other way, there's some small chunks in the way. And I think that one just came out better this way.
It's very unusual, and it's almost palmatum-like, so.
Yeah, it's a beautiful leaf.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's uncommon.
I like that.
Yeah. Crab apple, but apple. And
Yeah,
if you
look,
haven't seen
you can
apples,
put a whole
and
fist in
it'll
there.
doesn't have many flowers this year. Last year it had 20 apples about this size.
There's a little one right there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to have many apples this year, but it had quite a few last year.
Did this start off in your orchard, or?
No, Jim Grummel's backyard. Do you know Jim Grummel from the Bay Area?
No, I don't actually.
He was a potter and also then became a bonsai guy and kind of gave up on the pottery for the most part, I think, and concentrated on bonsai. And he had, I think, like a 5-acre piece of property
Oh.
north of in the North Bay. I forget, Occidental maybe.
Hmm.
And part of it used to be an old apple orchard. And
Yeah.
being the good bonsai guy that he was, he chopped down the apple trees to foot and a half tall and let them resprout.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, when apple has very soft wood when it's exposed to air, and so it just kind of rots away.
I have to get it. Look at that.
Let it grow out and then pinch it back.
Yeah.
Normally, Japanese maples, I'll pinch them while they're still in bud,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like this, and just remove the center.
Yep.
But I got to this one too late. Did a lot of transplanting this year, and so I didn't get to do the pinching that I hoped to on everything. There's a lot of trees.
When you have a lot of trees, it's easy to miss.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
This
Scheduling
one
is
just
hard.
needs a little extra energy to get it to grow stronger. It's a
Yeah.
I think there's a variety of lace leaf, and so
Mm-hmm.
they're naturally not. Yeah, you can kind of see from the start of the petals, it'll have deeply cut leaves.
Yeah.
Happier that way.
So what do you do with the leaf size on these grapes, though? Because they generally come out pretty large, right?
They do, but you only save the first 2 leaves. So you let it. Most deciduous trees, you let it grow 4, 5, 6 nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it back to 1 or 2. That first leaf that comes out is only about 1 inch big. The second leaf may be 1.5 inches. After that, you get 3, 4, or 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
But you just cut that away.
Hmm.
Right? You're using the first 2 nodes of the growth, and that's how you develop. Smaller leaves, but also just finer nodes over time.
Right, okay.
So you don't have to do any kind of fancy leaf pruning or
Reduction.
foliation.
Yeah.
If you grow a lot of twigs, the leaves will shrink by themselves. And what you do is you keep the node length really small. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I did not cut this one back, but what I would do is I would bring it back all the way to here.
Hmm.
So I keep the node length at like 3/4 of an inch,
Yeah.
1 inch max. If it's longer than that, I cut it off. And that's how you get small internodes on pretty much everything. But
Right.
on grapevine in particular, the nodes are, you see them in the vineyard, they're 4 to 5 inches apart.
Yeah.
Here they're 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And you can see, like on this, the node length is about 1 inch or thereabouts, almost all the way up.
Yeah.
So with that, you get some much more interesting possibilities
Yeah.
rather than long straight sections.
Neat. That's something new that I've learned today. Oh, I'm learning a lot here, but
So here's kind of a more advanced grapevines over here.
yeah.
This is sort of personal collection grapevines.
I'm sure. They have a bit of that Halloween type of
They
feel
do.
to them when they're kind of bare with no leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have one over here I call my Halloween tree.
How do you? That's funny.
There's one back here.
Yeah.
That's my Halloween tree.
You just need to put a pumpkin next to it.
It's not bad. I didn't steal that idea.
You know, I think this tree knows that you like it probably better than others because it's budding out sooner than some of the others.
Well, that's just kind of the luck of the draw in some cases. Some of the trees I had in the garage for a while where it's warmer and lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so they leafed out a little bit sooner.
Yeah, definitely. I can see where your eye is whenever you pick these guys out with kind of the twist and the taper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that with deciduous trees, you don't really need a big trunk necessarily, because you can build the canopy or the crown with several branches or trunks, and it looks just fine. In fact, I mean, it looks natural. If you look around the deciduous trees around us here, they don't have enormous trunks. They grow up and then they branch and branch and branch again.
Yeah.
This is my Princess Persimmon section.
Ah. Wow. Wow. Look at these.
That one has one of the tiniest fruits of the ones I have in the garden here. It has fruit that is about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch big.
Yeah, they're already small. Let's see. They're already small to start. Do you ever grow them from seed?
Oh yeah.
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 Do they need a cold stratification for?
For seed?
Yeah.
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, I mean, I grew them in the Bay Area, so
Right.
down there we didn't really need cold stratification quite so much. The secret is to plant the seed when it's still moist or wet.
So right out of the fruit then?
Yeah.
Mm.
Don't let the seed dry out. If you do that, then you have to soak it to get it amenable, I think, to sprouting.
Have you tasted one of these?
Very astringent.
Yeah.
They're
not edible.
Well, it's almost all seed inside, too.
Yeah.
So there's very little pulp. And you have to wait till it gets really soft for it not to be astringent. And by then it's like, ew.
Yeah,
Do I really want to do that? Look at the trees over there. Here comes the rain.
Yeah, here comes the rain. And it's, I feel like it's about to hail, the size of these drops. And there it is. Here it comes.
Oh, yeah. Let's step in here for a second.
Oh, yeah.
This is the protected area.
These are your top 10s.
Yeah, so the pictures that you get here might not be quite so good.
No, it's okay.
The tree you may have been thinking of
Was it that one?
is this one. This is the hawthorn.
Oh.
So the front is
Over there. Yeah. I'll sneak by it. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. That is, yeah, I love that. The movement, the ramification on that. It's hard to see through the gravel without the leaves, but
that's true. Gray on
yeah, it's gray on gray. It's camouflage in
It's all
here.
done just through pinching.
Oh.
No wiring on that one, as opposed to the one to your right there,
Yeah.
which was heavily wired this spring.
And raffiate. Wow.
Now you mentioned a pear before.
Yeah.
The tree over there
Is it this one?
North Asian pear.
This might be the one. This might be the one, yeah.
Yeah, so most pears grow kind of coarsely.
Look at that
Have an
outside.
Asian pear that, oh, look at that.
That is some chunky hail. Look at this.
Funny.
Right on cue. It's funky weather.
Yeah. More than
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Original batch that all young. This one. So this was last year, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 years from now, the next exhibit. Chinese elm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it came from somebody up in the Seattle area. I forget the guy's name now.
Was it John, was it?
What's his last name?
Muth?
No. No, it was a club member, not a nursery guy.
Is this an Ellie Agnes?
Yeah. It's a pretty old one too.
Yeah, I love the bark on it and and the movement on this thing.
And that's all just clip and grow too.
Nice.
Yeah, they give you that ability to change directions after every note or so because they have an irregular branching pattern.
Mhm.
You can make it irregular very easily.
Hmm.
This is a grove I just created yesterday.
No.
It's all from rooted cuttings.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Root cuttings.
Huh.
So root cuttings that sprouted. So I grow them kind of in a tub like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then from one nursery can like that one, 2-gallon nursery can, a 2 or 3-gallon nursery can, I can get 20 or more cuttings. And that's what I did with that thing. They sprouted and just became a grove.
20 years later.
About 20 years, actually, yeah, as a matter of fact.
Oh, so is this what you kind of did in there?
Yeah,
Is
right.
that all root cuttings right there?
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's kind of
you
what
go from something like that, and then it
Yep.
grows into something like that.
Yep.
How
So you
long
can-
would this take? Is this about 20 years?
Yeah, all about the same.
Wow. It's quite the investment in time.
Well, but things just grow,
Yeah.
and so they didn't take much attention
Mhm.
during that time. Just let them grow, pinch them back every now and then, or prune them back, and then at some point you just decide, okay, they're ready.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these look like you can go into a grove right now.
and that was the intention, except that I was a little bit slow on that one, and on this other one as well.
Yeah.
And in a few minutes you'll see themselves. They'll give you sometimes wild shapes.
Yeah.
So these
For sure.
are not shaped; they just happen that way. But they will be shaped later this year or next year.
Yeah.
This is another one that I had hoped to transplant and do some shaping and wiring in it, but probably not this year.
See, this is a powerful looking one.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, and it used to be, it used to be in something like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it had 2 side branches, and I cut off the main leader here. And so that part died back, but even though it died back, well, some of this wood is soft, but most of it is usually pretty hard for a long, long time. So essentially I took a tree like this, cut off its head, used the side branch to become the new leader.
Yeah. I love it.
And the roots, the roots are, roots can be really powerful.
That is for sure.
It had nice curves and then it had long segments, and so I removed all the long segments. And this year I also tilted it more to give a more interesting look to it.
Yeah, it works.
I still have to resolve the top here. I think it doesn't really need this little chunk here, but
This one?
yeah, the chunk on the left.
Oh, this one right here.
Yeah, it's kind of coarse, so I'll give it a couple more years to try to justify it. Shrunk at that point because I cut in significantly, but because I didn't wrap it, the bark splayed out and around and became much wider up there. So now I'm left with something that looks funny. Okay, back over here.
Sure.
First of all, my nearly dead or probably dead Arakawa.
Oh, this is the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
How unfortunate. That is a beautiful tree, too.
Yeah.
And I mean, it corks all the way up to here.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would do is I would plant seeds. I find a tree that has something interesting going for it. And like this one, these are all Sangokaku seedlings. So Sangokaku is coral bark maple. In most cases, fancy leaf Japanese maples like this one over here.
Like a Seiryu?
Yeah, this one may not be Seiryu, but it could be a child of Seiryu. So they come true to seed in maybe 5% of the cases. And so you're left with a lot of green Japanese maples like this. So this is from Seiryu as a parent, except these are the ones that don't look like Seiryu.
No.
And 95% of the time, that's what you'll get. Sangokaku is an exception, or at least the tree that I got those from were an exception, because 90% or 95% of the seedlings look like Sangokaku.
Yeah.
The coral bark to them. So that was really exciting. I don't have as many cast-offs as I did from this. So for these, I just make forest out of extras.
Interesting.
And here's
Corkbark?
corkbark seedlings. Yeah. Arakawa seedlings.
Yeah.
They grow slowly. They'll take a long time to bulk up.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it's so disappointing to see.
That one?
The other one. Yeah.
Very hard to ramify for me. I don't know what the trick is. Like, if I cut it, I'll get one shoot, cut it again, and then I'll get one shoot. So, it doesn't bifurcate very easily. I don't know if it's a timing thing, they're single flush or whatnot, but...
No, they're not single flush. So, do it the same. I use the same strategy for everything. So take a look at this thing here. So you say it has a hard time ramifying. You see this, remove some leaves. You see this branch coming out, it's starting to ramify. It has 3 or 4. What I would do when the new growth gets out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves or so, pinch it back to 2.
And you do it while they're still kind of succulent and green like this, or?
Yeah. Because if you don't, then it's going to be out here.
Yeah.
And then it's harder to ramify, I think.
Yeah.
And it's also harder to bend.
Right.
And the branches, as the longer they get, they tend to flatten out. Because as the leaves expand, the leaves are fairly large, and if they grow too long, they'll start to bend over.
Yeah.
And so you get flattening, flattening out branches, or things like this are just too hard to deal with. So I'd probably have to cut that one back should I decide to use it. Either cut the tree back or cut the branches back to something like the first node here and let them resprout.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
chances are it's even just too thick for that.
Right.
But the wonderful thing about crab apples is they don't come true from seed. So
Right. Were these from the same?
these are from the same tree.
Yeah, they're red.
Some are red, some are green. Some flowers are mostly white, like this one. Some flowers have deep pink on the background.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's everything from there came from one tree. Small yellow fruit.
And you know what? And I find that interesting. So,
Yeah, and so I'm happy to have different things in the same pot.
Sorry, I got distracted by this succulent-looking alien plant here.
Yeah, somebody gave me that, and I don't even know what that is anymore.
It's doesn't look like it belongs in the Northwest. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought at one time I was going to need a conifer or two for a show hen exhibit.
Yeah.
And I just don't grow conifers there. So.
Well, they look beautiful.
Hmm?
They look good.
You know the difference between an apple and crab apple?
Tell me.
Size.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you were trying to trick me.
Apple is something 2 inches in diameter or larger, and a crab apple is.
Besides having an abundance of great bonsai, Dennis has an abundance of princess persimmons too. And I love princess persimmons. So I went to check out his field where he has his sales Why are these material.
Oh,
guys over here?
uh,
Ended up picking up a couple of
because
trees
you don't have
enough room for future projects.
Or
And check this out. Some of these.
And these things were ones that I had started to.
He documents every single tree, has numbers on them, and has a catalog of what their fruit looks like and the color, their shape. It's a wonderful catalog that he's created so that you can kind of see the type of fruit that will bear on the tree that you're buying.
Inhaling shortly.
Yes.
So this is princess persimmon.
Yeah.
You can see the roots here.
Yeah.
So
It's insanity down there.
when you uncover the roots, what I do is usually just hose all the old soil away. The soil is 30 years old, so there's no value in the
I
old
love
soil.
the tour at Dennis's
But
place. It was an
you
honor
might
for me to
find
be able to see some of his
something like this
bonsai, the ones that have
underneath.
won the national show.
Which becomes a
And
curiosity,
he
or
was such a
becomes
gracious host. I enjoyed every minute of it. He shared his time, shared his knowledge, and I am so appreciative that I was able to walk his gardens and spend some time with him. People in Portland are so nice. They're almost Canadian.